Detroit, the silence is finally over. For weeks, Lions fans have been staring at practice reports, wondering just how worried this coaching staff really is about Jahmyr Gibbs sitting out of training camp. Well, wonder no more, because new offensive coordinator Drew Petzing just sat down with reporters at Allen Park and answered every single question fans have been asking. And honestly, some of his answers are going to raise more than a few eyebrows. We're talking about what this offense is actually missing without its best offensive weapon, why one veteran running back has completely stolen the show in Gibbs' absence, and what Petzing says is the real trademark of this brand new offense. Welcome back to Detroit Scope, the channel that gets you every angle of Lions football that matters. We are closing in on 1,000 subscribers, and if you want to help us get there, go ahead and smash that subscribe button right now. Let's break this whole thing down. Let's start with the question everybody wanted answered. What exactly does this Lions offense look like without Jahmyr Gibbs on the practice field? Petzing didn't dodge it. He came right out and called Gibbs one of the best players on this entire roster, plain and simple. Of course, this coaching staff wants him out there every single day. But here's the part that should calm nervous fans down a little. Petzing says he is not concerned at all because he trusts that Gibbs is going to be ready the moment he steps back onto that field. When pressed further about what a new coordinator running a brand new system might actually be losing by not having his top playmaker in the building, Petzing kept it simple. He admitted there's a small piece being missed in terms of building chemistry with the offensive line and with Jared Goff directly. But for a player with Gibbs' pedigree, Petzing made it clear that his skill set speaks for itself. The plan is straightforward. Keep building the foundation of this offense without him, and expect Gibbs to pick up exactly where he left off the moment he's back in the fold. Now here's where things get genuinely interesting, because while Gibbs has been standing on the sideline, Isaiah Pacheco has been putting on an absolute clinic. Petzing didn't hold back his praise for the two-time Super Bowl champion Detroit brought in this offseason. He talked about Pacheco's approach to the job, his physicality, his toughness, how hard he practices, and honestly, how much he genuinely cares about every single rep. And here's a detail that says everything you need to know about this guy's mentality. Petzing revealed that Pacheco can put together a nearly flawless practice, and if there's just one single rep where he didn't execute exactly the way he wanted, he'll beat himself up over it. He is that hard on himself. And according to Petzing, that kind of intensity is contagious in the best possible way. It's spreading through that running back room and rubbing off on everybody around him. To hammer that point home, reporters brought up a specific play from earlier in camp, where Pacheco carried multiple tacklers for what turned into a 9-yard gain, even though contact was made a yard or two behind the line of scrimmage. Petzing lit up talking about it. He called that exact kind of physical, violent mentality the entire essence of what a run game is supposed to be about. And when your teammates watch a guy drag defenders for extra yardage like that, Petzing says it gets the whole offense fired up. It's the kind of contagious energy you simply cannot coach into a locker room. It has to come from the players themselves, and right now, Pacheco is bringing it in bunches. But don't think for a second that Gibbs has been forgotten in all of this. Petzing was asked directly what he, personally as a play caller, is missing by not having a truly special player like Gibbs fully in the fold. His answer was thoughtful. He explained that the working relationship with Gibbs is still very much alive. They're still communicating, still talking through practice reps, different looks, and different concepts they want to eventually build into the offense together. But in the meantime, Gibbs' absence has actually created an opportunity for Petzing to highlight other players, hand the ball to different guys in practice, and figure out exactly what else this offense is capable of. He called that kind of adaptability a core part of being a good offensive coordinator, figuring out who's available, moving pieces around, and staying dynamic and difficult for opposing defenses to key in on. That, according to Petzing, has been his primary focus these first several days of camp. So naturally, the conversation shifted to what fans can actually expect to see from this offense once the lights come on in September. Petzing kept his answer sharp and to the point. It needs to be physical. It needs to be tough. It needs to be difficult to defend, and it needs to be multiple, meaning it is not going to run through just one player or one specific personnel grouping. It's going to change and evolve week to week, depending on the matchup. Petzing pointed out that defensive coordinators around this league study tape at an elite level, so this offense has to be just as adaptable and unpredictable in response. Reporters pushed a bit further, noting how much attention has been paid to Petzing's use of 13 personnel in the past, especially with a receiver room this loaded featuring names like Jameson St. Brown, Dortch, and Tesla, essentially asking whether he'll have to sacrifice one strength for another. Petzing flipped that framing completely. He said he doesn't view it as a sacrifice at all. He views it as an opportunity to simply put his best players on the field, whether that means leaning into 13 personnel, 11 personnel, 10 personnel, or anything in between. His entire coaching philosophy comes down to identifying who can affect the game at the highest level and making sure those players get every opportunity to do exactly that. That naturally led into a question about how Petzing actually decides who gets the football in an offense absolutely loaded with playmakers. His answer was refreshingly honest. It's a constant balancing act, and a huge part of it comes down to challenging players directly. His message to this roster has essentially been simple. If you want the ball, go out and earn it. Training camp, he explained, is exactly the venue for that competition, with players fighting for roles and touches every single day, trying to prove themselves to coaches, teammates, and the entire organization. Petzing's philosophy is that once a player shows they can perform at a high level, it becomes his job as a coordinator to keep putting them in that position again and again. That, in his words, is what real competition is all about, and it brings out the best version of everyone involved, both individually and as a complete unit. From there, the conversation moved up front to the offensive line, and this is where Petzing's excitement really started to show. With the team only 2 days removed from putting on pads, he explained that evaluations are just now starting to become meaningful. He made an interesting point that some things that look great in one-on-ones and team drills without pads suddenly look completely different once the pads go on. It becomes, in his words, a slightly different sport entirely. But overall, Petzing said he's been genuinely pleased with the attitude, the effort, and the physicality up front. There are still technical and execution details that need cleaning up as camp progresses, but he was clear that physicality and toughness are the non-negotiable starting points. Without those two things in place, none of the finer details even matter. Naturally, Greg Dortch's name came up again, given that Petzing actually coached him for 3 seasons back in Arizona. Reporters want to know what Dortch specifically brings to an offense that already features established stars like St. Brown and Tesla. Petzing didn't hesitate. He called Dortch's return skills second to none in his opinion, praising how dangerous he is with the ball in his hands. He also pointed out that Dortch has real value working out of the slot, calling it another legitimate tool for this offense. But Petzing was quick to add that none of that is guaranteed just yet. Dortch still has to go out and earn that role throughout the rest of camp. And so far, according to Petzing, he's doing exactly that. The questions then turn to how Petzing actually measures something as abstract as attitude and physicality along the offensive line. His answer painted a vivid picture of what it's like to stand on that practice field. He explained that some of it is genuinely subjective. You can hear it, you can feel it standing behind the line of scrimmage, and honestly, even fans in the stand can sense when the energy shifts. But beyond that feel, Petzing said he looks for concrete details too. Extra effort, finishing plays, the little things that tend to disappear when energy dips or when that competitive edge isn't consistently present. He said it's his job to point those moments out when they're good, but also to hold the group to a higher standard when it isn't quite there yet, constantly reinforcing why that edge matters and how it directly translates to winning football games. Jameson St. Brown's development also came up in a big way. Reporters noted that even though Petzing wasn't with the team last season, he clearly did a deep dive into the tape, and they wanted to know where he's challenged St. Brown to take the next step in his game. Petzing praised the sheer competitiveness inside that entire receiver room, crediting St. Brown as the leader who sets that tone. Specifically for St. Brown, Petzing pointed to playing physical, playing fast, attacking the football, and finishing plays through contact. He acknowledged that St. Brown's speed is elite, capable of running past nearly anyone on the field, but explained that opposing defenses are going to try to counter that speed by getting physical with him at the line of scrimmage to disrupt his release or contesting him hard at the top of his routes. According to Petzing, that's exactly where St. Brown has been focused on improving, building play strength, and getting off the line faster while staying physical throughout the entire route. On a more personal note, Petzing was asked how he's handling the pressure of stepping into a Lions organization with this much talent and this much hunger to get back to championship-level football. His response revealed a lot about his mentality as a coach. He said he views pressure as a positive term, not as stress. It's something he signed up for and genuinely loves because it brings out the best version of himself, and he believes the best version of his players too. He was honest that those high-stakes moments aren't necessarily relaxing in the moment. But he said coaches and players alike get into this profession because they live for exactly those situations. The running back room as a whole also got plenty of praise. Petzing said the standard for that entire group is being set from the top, pointing again to the way Gibbs approaches his job, even while sidelined. He credited the offensive line as playing a major role in that success too, since no running back can produce without the guys up front doing their jobs first. But the detail Petzing seemed most genuinely impressed by was what those running backs do without the ball in their hands, specifically in pass protection on third downs. He explained that pass protection reveals the real character of a running back, their willingness to absorb contact, their football intelligence, their discipline, and how seriously they study the details of the offense outside of the building. For backs who aren't the primary ball carrier, Petzing said embracing that role fully is how they earn genuine respect from both coaches and teammates, and he believed there are multiple players in that room currently doing exactly that at a high level. Even with Gibbs unable to practice, Petzing insisted he's still setting the tone for that entire room through his work ethic and preparation during the off-season program and every single day he has been at the facility. He described Gibbs as a player who's always first in line, doing everything the right way, and someone who never shies away from pass protection duties despite being the clear number one back. Petzing called that kind of buy-in from your top player extremely important, adding that Gibbs consistently works to help his teammates understand how he reads the game and processes different situations, proving that leadership like that can happen regardless of whether a player is fully practicing or not. Finally, Petzing touched on the tight end room, which has dealt with its fair share of injuries and roster shuffling throughout camp. He acknowledged the unfortunate reality of training camp. Players are going to pick up nicks and bruises along the way, but framed it as an opportunity for other players to prove what they're capable of, while also putting extra pressure on the coaching staff to make sure everyone's stepping and knows exactly what's being asked of them. He specifically praised the group's position coach for handling that challenge well, and singled out the fun of watching Sam Laporta return to the field, along with praising Brock Wright as one of the most dependable professionals in the entire organization given the role he plays in this offense. So here's where this all lands: Detroit. Drew Petzing just gave Lions fans the most complete, honest look yet into how this new-look offense is being built from the ground up. Jahmyr Gibbs may still be on the sideline, but according to the man calling the plays, that absence is not shaking anyone's confidence. If anything, it's creating room for guys like Isaiah Pacheco to show exactly what they're capable of. The receiver room is deep. The offensive line is finally starting to show real teeth now that the pads are on, and the entire philosophy of this offense comes down to one simple idea: put the best players on the field, no matter what personnel grouping that requires. If this early buzz out of Allen Park is any indication, Lions fans have every reason to be excited about what Drew Petzing is building here. That's everything from this Petzing press conference, Lions fans. If you enjoyed this breakdown, let us know in the comments. Are you more excited about Pacheco's fire in the backfield, or are you counting down the days until Gibbs gets back on that practice field? And while you're down there, make sure you hit that like button and smash subscribe so you never miss a single update from Detroit Scope. We are so close to hitting 1,000 subscribers, and every single one of you can help us get there. We'll see you in the next one.